In darkest day and blackest night, we are the powerful Nerdcast. Hello, my friends. I am Corey, and joined with me is Christian, and today we have a very special guest. We have Viet Nguyen, local comedian and master of the customizable minions. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
We're really glad that you're here with us today because we have a lot of awesome things to discuss. And, I knew you were a comedian, but I love the fact that you're customizing these minions and everything, especially that it's Captain America, because today we're actually going to be talking about the brand new Avengers trailer. And before we began this podcast, you already told us that you didn't want to see the trailer yet, and I figured it probably would be better if we didn't show you that and just talk about it a little bit, maybe build up a little hype behind this brand new movie.
You didn't want to be spoiled, and
yes.
We'll respect that. How about that?
I loved the Avengers movies, and I just wanted to be able to. I want to go into the movie and not
And you're not just a casual fan. Like, you actually podcast about the Avengers. Like, What are some of the podcasts you're on or you're a part of?
I do a podcast called Earth's Mightiest Podcast, where we go over all the Avengers books that come out every month. So we basically read the books so you don't have to. So we tell what happens, and then we just say whether we liked it or not.
So you're like a pseudo form of piracy.
Basically. But I mean, at the same time, we're saying we're
you guys have your opinions involved as well.
Yeah. So because there's like 17 bajillion titles that come out every month, and then so we basically read them, and then we go over the big events that come out. So basically, let you know what's worth picking up and what's not. So
that's awesome.
We're helping out. Our fellow
and you guys
readers.
were you guys doing this before the Avengers movies came out? So you guys were kind of precursors to that actually happening.
That's right.
So you must have been really excited when you found out the Avengers movies were.
Yeah, I mean, like as great as these, it only increases the amount of listeners. I mean, because basically, like people that want to keep up with what's going on right now, they can just follow, they can just listen to our podcast, and then eventually pick up everything in trade or whatever.
Yeah, so. We do a lot of anime reviews, and we are up to date with a lot of anime universes, but the Marvel universes, they're huge. I don't even have the extra time to even understand them, besides maybe looking at characters' Wikipedia page once in a while. That's all I can do.
Pretty much.
It's a pretty big investment to learn that whole universe like you guys have.
Yeah, we go through all the books, and one by one we just $3.99 at a time. We just saved you guys.
So do you think that plays a role in some of your comedy? Do you think you have nerdy comedy, or do you keep it more general?
It depends on the audience, I guess. If I'm doing a convention, of course I can really
sort of ham it up.
Yeah, I can make Squirrel Girl jokes. I can make jokes about the Silver Surfer and stuff. But then if I'm more I do a lot of regular comedy clubs where especially in the South, there's a bunch of rednecks that probably don't.
They don't want to hear about
lots of Silver Surfer fans down here
that sometimes don't read anything if not comic books.
That Zerg Rush bit doesn't really work on them.
Yeah, surprisingly, no. They don't want to hear about jokes about Batroc the Leaper.
They don't know anything about that.
But so I keep it general to Spider-Man, maybe a Star Wars joke, but that's about
that's
it.
almost cultural at a certain point.
Exactly.
That's not just nerdy.
I mean, and luckily we live in a day and age where there's being a nerd is kind of cool now. So,
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when some of the biggest movies right now are, the characters from the Avengers in their own films.
Right.
Like Captain America 2.
Yes.
And then films like the Avengers.
Right.
Those are top tier movies now.
Yeah.
They may be about superheroes, but those are top tier films. So, they have all the technology and all the CG and everything that makes what...
Star Wars Episode 7 just comes out later this year.
Yeah, I keep seeing a countdown on Imgur. It's just these two dudes dancing, and it says this many days till Star Wars comes out,
Nice.
and that's just updated all the time.
That's the one thing I'm looking forward to. Aside from the fact that the new Avengers is coming out, I'm really looking forward to the next chapter in the story. There's probably a 99% chance of the new movie coming out. They're going to preview the new Star Wars film. Disney owns both Marvel now, or at least Marvel the studios, the movies, and they're also going to be marketing their Star Wars movie. That'd be the absolute perfect time. But let's talk a little bit about the Avengers here. This brand new movie, it's coming out. It's called The Age of Ultron, which I believe it's actually named after one of the arcs from the Avengers series. And there are going to be some major changes, but this most recent trailer dropped some major bombshells one, we're finally starting to see the team in action.
Yes.
And that's probably my favorite thing about the brand new trailer is there's a lot of really great shots of the team together, working together. If you guys remember that shot from the very first movie when they're at the city at the very end, I call it the classic Avengers shot at this point.
The spin around shot?
The spin around shot.
Yeah, the
all
spin
the
around
characters
shot, yeah.
posing. They're really sort of like taking that concept and blowing it up for the new movie. And there's a lot of great shots where they're all jumping out of this Jeep at the same time in this big snowy setting, fighting what I'm guessing is against Hydra agents. Because that's still another element.
Hail Hydra.
Exactly. It's not just going to be Ultron who's trying to destroy the human race, but Hydra's also going to be working behind the scenes, and this is, of course, set up for more Marvel movies in the future. But the thing that really stuck out to me the most is the character that they teased at the very end of the trailer, who has barely been shown at all, and that's a character in the comics who's known as the Vision.
Yes.
And he's a character who's actually been around in Marvel Comics, I believe, even as long since the 40s. And then they reinvented him. And they're reinventing him kind of again in this movie. You know, he's still going to be an android character, but I think he is going to have some connections to Iron Man's butler, Jarvis, who in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as opposed to the comics, is actually a living AI. And it almost seems like that AI is going to take control of the Vision, but luckily in the trailer, they don't show him in full. They're still trying to keep it kind of mysterious. We basically see his eyes.
Super close up of his face.
But I love the fact that they're staying true to it, and, you know, he still has, like, the red face, he has the green, he even has the gem on his forehead. And the biggest talk from the trailer this week is that maybe the gem on his head is somehow related to the ones with the Infinity Gauntlet, which is just more build-up for the big Infinity War movies, which are coming up, which involve Thanos. All I know is I'm excited for that trailer. Christian, do you have a favorite moment from it?
I always like anything to do with Hulkbuster armor. So we got to see a little bit more of that fight, which was really awesome, and I'm glad they're bringing that back. And then I really liked the parts with Ultron, actually getting to see him fight, like with Captain America. So I was actually pretty excited about that. But the one thing I'm the most excited about is the scene where you see Captain America and Tony Stark talking. It looks like they are having an argument on that farm. And I think that that's going to be some of the biggest precursor moments to Captain America Civil War, which I'm actually excited to see that sort of, you know, take fold. It's funny how I'm almost more interested in that than the Ultron fight itself. You know, like I want to see that story play out.
Yeah, I mean, like Civil War is like one of, my opinion, one of the best like storylines as there is. Which is funny because you were mentioning like Age of Ultron is a name of like an event title, but it was awful. It was really absolutely terrible.
They see,
it leaves kind of a bad taste in your mouth. You're like, ooh, why did you use that name? But it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with that storyline.
Well, that's good. I mean, I guess it's just a catchy sounding title. It goes really good with Ultron. It'll be really great for his overall introduction. But I mean, like, I'm actually a very casual fan of the comics. I don't think I've even purchased a Marvel comic book since I believe 1998. I feel really bad, but I still buy comics occasionally. I'm really into the new IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That is a great series.
And that sort of like brought me back into comic books again. Plus, all these new movies have coming out. Like I've been this close to buying like all the Marvel Omnibus and all those books again, just because I really want to experience those stories, especially before they go through this huge reboot, which apparently is about to happen. I'm sure that you probably know about that in the Marvel universe. And, you know, I don't even know what to expect.
I think it's more of a merger, I guess. It's not really like a reboot like the New 52 was with DC. They're basically kind of getting all their universes, and they're just like I think they use the analogy of getting two pizzas and putting them together and then pulling it apart, and then whatever's left on one pizza, that's what's going to be there.
It's kind of the timeline they're going to go down.
Yeah, which is pretty much the joke that we would make is just like, you just ruined two pizzas. Perfectly good pizzas. But, so it's...
Now there's mushrooms on this one.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, whatever. You know, I mean, pizza sandwich, maybe? I don't know. But it's, so that's what they're kind of doing. So, like, we don't... usually, I don't know, it's like the events most of the time is just like they're cash cows kind of thing. They're mostly I would call them they're like the Bud Light of comic books. And then usually what's great is the aftermath of what happens from that, is what makes the books good.
Taking your beer analogy just a step further, like maybe you get into beer through Bud Light, but then if you actually care about beer, you go into those little craft beers over here, that were spawned from someone that had Bud Light one time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that too. And there's so many, that's again why the Marvel universe is so deep. You can just like pick little avenues to go down. And then like even Deadpool, he has a lot of development in a lot of different areas. I read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Yeah. That was great. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that was like a cool little universe all on its own. And they even say the word universes. They're like, yeah, this is this universe where this happens. And like they almost like you just see the whole inner workings of it. Like they don't mind showing you that.
Yeah, like you know, there's avenues that you can go where you don't have to read everything. Like most of the time, you can probably get away with, just reading a Wikipedia page and that kind of thing. Yeah. And but we then like that's what we do on our podcast. We try to let you know it's like this isn't like if you like this character, then get it. Or but if you don't,
it's like a must-have for fans. But casual readers don't need it.
Like 100%. Or like you'll need to read this book, otherwise you'll be confused if you read this one. That kind of thing.
But yeah, getting back to the new Avengers, I am super excited about it, and I hope it gets here soon, May 1st, right?
I know it's just May right 1st. Around the corner. It's going to be huge, and not just a couple months after that. You have Ant-Man, which is going to be the beginning, I believe, of Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Which I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. Hopefully, they'll tie that somehow into Ultron's origins, because so far there's been no mention that Ant-Man is going to have a role in creating Ultron, which I think that's the way it was originally in the comics, and this time it's going to be Tony Stark doing it, which makes sense. I'm one of those people too, like I don't really mind when they make changes like that, because it does make sense. It does seem like something that Tony Stark would be able to create and do, and I'm able to accept that they are their own universes, but that's probably one of the other reasons too that's keeping me from buying the comics, because keeping up again with the continuity when you like recommend certain ones. I'm one of those like OCD people where like if I get like issue 1, I have to get the rest. And I have to have every single one. And considering there are so many multiple universes and continuities, it's really hard to keep up with that stuff.
It can be really overwhelming.
But that's why I'm kind of excited for the Marvel reboot that's coming up, because it might actually allow me to get like a jumping point, like jump in and maybe start collecting at this point and start reading about my favorite characters again.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Ant-Man, but for some reason I think Ant-Man has the strongest possibility of sucking versus everything else coming out for some reason. Yeah. Like it's just a completely random sort of direction, because I don't know much about Ant-Man, and maybe he is super cool, but I just find...
He's not. No, just kidding. Sorry, Ant-Man fans, but
I just don't find him to be all that interesting. A guy that can shrink and he's strong. Yeah. But Paul Rudd's really funny, so I think if anyone can breathe some life into that role. Right. But that's probably what people thought with Ryan Reynolds and Green Lantern, and look where that turned out. Right. And so you can't just throw a cool character in, like a cool personality in the costume, and expect it to do all the heavy lifting. But I think Paul Rudd could do it,
Well, I mean,
he
obviously,
works 80% of the time, all the time.
Even we're joking about the fact that Ant-Man's not exactly the most serious of superheroes, and maybe that's why Paul Rudd is kind of a perfect choice for that character, because he himself has been in a lot of comedic roles, and he might be able to bring a lot of good comedic timing to that character who, even after seeing that trailer for the first time, they made it seem real dark at the beginning, but by the end of it, I was laughing, especially when he's like, can we change the name from Ant-Man? It kind of goes in that vein, but... It's funny because they are going to have to do something special with Ant-Man, because I was watching a review the other day. This guy called the Blockbuster Buster, he reviews a lot of superhero stuff, and he was reviewing this Marvel cartoon called Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and he was reviewing the whole show, like doing all the characters and everything, and when he got to Ant-Man, he had nothing but negatives to say about the character, and I love that he's like, what is special about Ant-Man? Every other member of the Avengers can do what he does, just in a much better way. He's basically just there to be there and fill a spot. So I'm really hoping that Marvel movie is going to bring some attention to the character and hopefully make him a little more popular, because I do like the concept of a character who can shrink and grow and everything. I think that is pretty cool.
Boring.
And the Hank Pym, or like the Ant-Man that you're used to seeing or that you see in cartoons and comic books, that's Hank Pym. And Paul Rudd's going to be Scott Lang, which is
a different the second
Ant-Man.
Generation
right?
Ant-Man.
And then I mean, given that Ant-Man's probably really low on my list of favorite Avengers, but they made a talking raccoon and a giant tree work.
And they made them work well.
Guardians was something special.
Yeah, and then so like I kind of like I'll believe it when I see it if they mess it up. Mm-hmm. I think they're in good hands. Like I have my faith in them.
Yeah, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, Avengers. You had all those films building up to it, so there's a lot of like already hype and momentum to make it good.
Right.
And of course, it takes hard work to make a film that good. But like Guardians of the Galaxy came out of nowhere with no backup and just owned it. Like it was so good. Yeah, so they could make Ant-Man that good.
Yeah.
But in theory, I find his power is very stupid, kind of like Mr. Fantastic. It's just none of it interests me at all. I'm just like, ugh, get that character off screen. Get me someone that can shoot lasers and has super strength instead. So, yeah.
We need some explosions. We don't need this little guy here all the time.
Yeah, this guy that can shrink.
He can punch you in the ankle worse than anyone, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And and Hank Pym in the comics, he's a bit of a douchebag. He's not a very likable character.
Well, there you go. But I guess that's why he doesn't have all that much. Like I just don't remember any lines from Ant-Man that blew me away.
Nothing really. I mean, and Hank, I believe, is being played by Michael Douglas.
Yes.
So I can't wait to see what he's going to bring to that role. I'm really interested to see if they're actually going to get him in like spandex or something. I think that would be really funny.
That'll be all CG, dude.
Yeah, muscle suit.
Yeah, chances are with that guy. But I'm really excited for this. This brand new Avengers trailer has got me really hyped. It's got a lot of new footage in it, some old footage, and there's definitely some teasers in there for those who want to find it. But for those who want to be surprised by the movie, I would recommend skipping it because there is some pretty cool scenes in there, like the Hulk and Iron Man fighting. Like that's one of those scenes. Like I was watching the trailer and I was excited, but I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I hadn't seen that because if I was in a theater and I saw that, I would literally like say something out loud.
You'd be like, "Oh awesome yeah!"
Like it would have gotten me
like,
really pumped up. Exactly. So I'm really excited for that. But let's move away from that and let's go to the land of the rising sun. It's anime time. In particular, we're going to be talking about some brand new shows that are starting up this spring season.
Because I'm going to look at Corey's computer, and you can look at this so you can read along. And
there are going to be a lot of them. And Viet, I know that you're kind of a casual fan of anime. We talked before. You said you're a big fan of Attack on Titan.
Yes.
But hopefully some of the shows we're talking about today, maybe you'll decide to check them out because there are going to be some really cool ones. Obviously, we're Super Kami Guru 9000. We like action anime. That's like the thing we
like
focus
explosions,
on a lot.
Dragon Ball Z-centric style.
And we always look for that type of stuff. And luckily this season, there's going to be a lot of shows like that. The one that I'm looking forward to the most is called Ninja Slayer. And it's basically sort of like a callback to those classic 80s anime you saw, like the kind when you were younger, you went to Blockbuster Video, you wanted to rent an anime, and they only had the super mega violent ones on the shelves that you should not be watching, yet your parents allowed you to take them home, watch them, and it would blow your mind. And that's what they're kind of doing with Ninja Slayer. And the reason I'm really excited for this show is because it's being done by Studio Trigger.
Yes.
And if you guys are in the anime world, you know that Studio Trigger has made some groundbreaking shows such as Gurren Lagann, the greatest robot mecha show of all time, and Kill La Kill, which is basically like the ultimate parody of magical girl shows and Sailor Moon. And they're known for their extreme art styles and bombastic animation, and they're doing a show now which is going to be really dark and really gritty and extremely stylized, almost 80s way. And that's what I'm really looking forward to see it.
That, as soon as you said Studio Trigger, again, I don't know if you've ever seen either of those shows, Gurren Lagann or Kill La Kill, but they're both just like Bleed style. Every character is interesting, even the side characters that aren't powerful enough to actually do anything in the combat that the characters run into. They're all just like interesting all the way through, and they can just tell a hell of a story on top of all that. So I really hope that this is good. Actually, I have no doubts in my mind that this is going to be really good.
Ninja's good.
Yeah,
exactly.
Slaying, good.
Yes.
Ninja, slaying, anime, it works. And the thing that's really good about this show, I think, is that the premise itself is really simple at this point. It's really just, it takes place in this like cyberpunk city, and it's going to involve this one guy who goes, oddly enough, by the name of Ninja Slayer.
Which
That's
is
really
already the most
name.
metal name ever.
Exactly. And the character design is awesome. He's this red ninja. The image I'm looking at now, he's standing in the rain. There's bodies all around him. And it just looks so atmospherically fun. This is going to be one of those, like, you just watch for the fun. Maybe not so much for the story, but one that I think I'm looking forward to the most just for the animation's sake.
Well, anytime Studio Trigger comes out with something new, I'm going to watch it. So what else we got?
That's just the beginning. There's one other show that is...
These are kind of like our must-watches that we're going to be watching this next
season.
Again,
if you guys are listening today, if you have any suggestions for shows that you do want us to look at, please tell us in the comments section below, because we're going to be looking at a lot of these shows. But another one is called Kekai Senshin, and this show is actually from the creator of Trigun, which is a very popular anime from the mid-90s. It's based on a manga series. Kind of like a gunslinger western set in the future.
I've seen Trigun.
Trigun's very good.
It's a classic. It aired on Toonami.
Much
back in
deeper
the
than you thought it was when you first start watching it.
Surprisingly, so.
Yeah, has a lot more going on.
And this show right here is going to be very similar to that. It's done by Bones Animation, who's worked on Full Metal Alchemist, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And all I can really say about this show is I don't know anything about it. Well, just the fact that it's from the creator of Trigun, and it's something that, he hasn't done anything in a long time, and he's just got like his own very distinct style. I can't wait to see that. I
think the pedigree alone of that show can't guarantee it, but it definitely sounds like it's going to do good. Mm-hmm. So that's another one we're going to check out.
And there's going to be, from what I've understood, there is going to be like a supernatural element to it. Mm-hmm. It's going to involve like the Earth and the Netherworld, and it's all going to be in New York. So it's going to be in an American city.
You think their hands are going to turn into guns?
I have no idea. I don't even know what to take from it. Looking at the character designs, if you look at them, they look a lot like the characters from Trigun. Right there. They just
Is there
have
a
that,
guy with a giant cross?
Exactly.
Machine gun?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. This one's going to be a really good one. It starts at the very beginning of April.
What about Duel Masters?
Duel Masters, I will be skipping. Duel Masters, I'm sure, is great for the younger crowd.
What about Tekiyuku 4?
Oh, man. I don't know about that one either. But one that I think is going to be classic, and I don't even know where they're going with this. This is probably one of the oldest anime franchises of all time. It is Lupin the Third, which is a very classic show. Yeah. It's actually going to be the first anime version of this show, like since I believe the late 80s. Every other time, though, they've done like a Lupin show. It's been like a movie or a special. But Lupin is the story of a French thief and his team who go around the world, and they basically just perform these crazy heists, and the shenanigans ensue. But it's all done in the style of a 1970s anime, so it's going to have that same like style of music and clothing and everything. And it's just going to make it seem a little more distinct. And just the fact that it's coming back in full anime form, I'm excited because...
So it's like Ocean's 11 meets anime.
A little bit like that, yeah, and maybe just a little more fan service thrown in. For
okay. It's got some fan service in it, yeah.
Because, the thing about the show, too, is it is kind of a comedy as well. Lupin's not a bad guy, but he performs some serious, like, thievery all over the world. So I can't wait to see what they're doing with that. But still, a few more other shows that I do want to talk about today. We do have Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. And I want to bring up this show because you guys grilled me when I did not review this show last season. Because we got a lot of requests from people. They're like, Corey, we know you love action anime. Why are you not watching Fate Stay? It's the greatest action show of all time.
I remember reading a lot of those comments, too.
And I do. I apologize for not looking at it. I went back and I saw the first couple episodes, and damn, mind is blown. The series is fun. So I will say that I am going to take a look at the next half of the season when that is rolling around. It's just another one I'm looking forward to. And Christian, this is one that you have been saying maybe we should give it a shot. And I don't know how to
Corey's going to
feel about it yet.
Corey's going to review
we've gotten requests
Digimon
for it, but it's just not in my. It's not my demographic. It's called Digimon Adventure Try. And what's interesting about
this is Sailor Moon your demographic, Corey?
It is not.
Okay.
And that's probably why I'm going to take a look at this show. But from what I've been told from people, this is not going to be like the other Digimon series, where this one's actually going to be a sequel to the one we watched when we were kids, and it's going to involve the same characters. And apparently, it's going to be much darker and more mature. But I'm still going to hold my breath because this is Digimon. They have toys and cards to sell. I don't think it's going to blow me away that much. But I am going to take a look at the first episode of the series.
So this is also something we're going to try out this time, and that's going to be reviewing the first episode of a lot of different series. And then whatever you guys respond the most to is probably going to dictate what we continue to review, unless we just really like it. Mm-hmm. And then we'll just do it no matter what.
But without a doubt, Ninja Slayer and Kekai Senshin, that's the shows that, like, those are guaranteed.
Yeah.
Those have to look at those. And, of course, a few other shows that are continuing on from the winter season, like Assassination Classroom and a few others. I am going to continue reviewing those. But if you guys actually want to check out some of the brand new spring anime seasons, I would recommend going to Anachart. They have all the brand new shows which are starting. They typically have the start date and actually when they're going to air for the first time. Some of them are to be announced. A lot of them don't even have like trailers yet. But we got to realize some of these things are about a month and a half, 2 months away. But there it is. Spring 2015 anime season. I'm excited. Remember, guys, tell us what you want us to look at. And we're going to move into one more anime thing this week, which for us, this is like the holy grail of things because we're Super Kami Guru 9000. Our whole channel is based around a Dragon Ball Z joke.
Yes.
And just this week, they released the very first trailer, or not the very first trailer,
the third
major one for Dragon Ball Z Fukatsu no F, which is going to feature the revival of the classic villain Frieza. And this has probably been the most controversial week for this character because they revealed the brand new form of Frieza.
Yes.
And it's basically just a recolor, which is like a metallic gold form. And the entire fan base is completely divided. And Christian,
yes.
I've been sort of like waiting through that all week, and I want your opportunity to address the fans about how you feel about this.
Well, I don't mind it because it's very different than Frieza's color scheme. So then they had to take it to the next level. You know, it couldn't just be another blue and purple or whatever, or white and purple, or white and blue, whatever his color scheme is originally. And the other thing is, I think that it is almost like a poetic move to make his final transformation golden, like the Super Saiyan transformation that defeated him, you know, and I actually like that. And it makes me think that this transformation is a little deeper than I thought. But, but when people say it looks lazy, I understand. It's just recoloring, you know, it's not that different. Maybe his shoulder pads are a little different or, you know, but, I understand. I sympathize with the fans when they say it looks lazy,
Gold
but I
just
actually
adds
like it.
at least 5,000 more power.
Yeah.
Right.
He turned gold. Okay, he's done.
Did you ever used to watch Dragon Ball Z back in the day?
Yeah, I loved it. I watched it religiously back
Awesome.
back in the day. So.
You should be happy to know, over the course of the last couple of years, they've been releasing brand new films.
Really?
Which
Yep.
are actually sequels to the actual series itself.
Okay.
And they even bring in brand new characters, and this one is going to feature the return of Frieza from the Namek saga, and Frieza's going to be more powerful than ever, and it's just going to be earth-shatteringly fun. But I love the trailer because not only did we get to see Frieza's brand new form, but the trailer showed off all of the side characters who, it looks like they're not just going to be bench warmers this time.
No, they're
actually going to be in the action.
Yeah, like Frieza brings all of his goons again. Like,
oh, okay.
If you remember the Namek arc, like
right.
everyone defeating his goons was like everyone got a chance to shine before Goku showed up and had to fight Frieza.
Right.
So in this, there's all these goons that show up with Frieza pretty much his army. So everyone gets a fight.
Force and
yeah,
all
like the
guys?
Ginyu Force plus random red shirts, as I call them.
Right,
you know,
right.
the people that you can just kick around and no one cares. And so it's exciting to know that Krillin's actually going to get a fight in this movie, and so is Piccolo.
Yeah.
Just people that don't have
Even
golden
Master
hair.
Roshi, like in the trailer, they show him his shirt is ripped off. He's all buffed up. He's firing Kamehameha at like 100 soldiers at once, and that's what I'm excited about.
Because he's actually Walter White, and he's high on meth, and that's why he can do it.
It explains it all. That's how he's been living for so long.
Exactly.
But I love it because there's like 1,000 soldiers in the trailer, which just seems like way too many. But you know, for how powerful the characters from Dragon Ball Z are, it really seems perfect for how it's going to work out.
And one of the main themes you always see in these Dragon Ball movies are there's the main bad guy and then there's his like henchmen under him, aka Ginyu Force, or you know, you can sub those people in all throughout all the Dragon Ball movies.
Right.
And so I think that those are going to be some of the most interesting characters as well when we actually get to meet his minions and things like that.
Yeah, because there is a shot in the trailer. It's real brief. I mentioned this in the trailer discussion video. And it's funny you mentioned the Ginyu Force because Frieza is coming back in this movie. The Ginyu Force is not. Which I do think is kind of a missed opportunity. I'd love to see those guys come back and do more poses. But exactly, this guy knows what's up. Yeah. And in the trailer, there are these new characters who are not wearing like the typical Saiyan battle armor. It's green and black. And there's that one character
it has
who,
like a gem-looking symbol, or like it's more like angled. It's not like a big circle like it used to be.
It's like a more like modern stylized version that we saw from the original show. But there's that one new character who's like that one big red-looking devil guy, and he's punching Vegeta. And that leads me to believe that they're going to be like more of the higher-ups, or maybe like the brand new next-generation Ginyu Force.
He's the
which I think would be great.
What was that guy that could spit on people in the Buu saga?
It was Deborah.
He's
the
same
Lord of the Demon World.
Yeah, he's a Deborah race, you know. Kind of like that. He did look like Satan, though. He looks like a red guy with horns and stuff. It's pretty cool.
It looks like the guy from, I think it was the movie called Legend. I think back in the 80s with I think it was Tom Cruise. I think that's what it was. Tim Curry playing the big devil. I hate when I bring up Legend because everybody just looks,
Why don't we just go with the devil from Tenacious D instead?
Yeah,
let's go with that. That's much. Isn't he a?
That's the drummer from Nirvana.
It is, isn't it?
What's his name? What other bands is he in? He has that other big band.
If
David Grohl?
Yeah, David Grohl.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
Whatever.
Satan.
That's Satan.
There you go.
Satan.
But not in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
All right, so safe to say you're pretty much okay with Frieza's form.
I'm okay with Frieza's form. Just fucking release the movie. Let me watch it. That's what I say.
You got to remember, guys, this is Dragon Ball Z. It's not Shakespeare. We're just meant to go in, watch some cool fights, and that's it. But
everyone screams, powers up, and then we go home.
Yes.
That's the way it needs to be.
But I'm excited for the movie. You know, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. That's kind of what started my love of Dragon Ball Z and anime in the first place. So, I'm excited for that. But that's it. That's all the anime news we have this week. But now we're going to talk to Viet Nguyen right here and his awesome comedy.
Before that, I did see that I was huge into Initial D.
Really, the racing show.
Yeah.
Really? Taking
in
you
college.
back,
I've missed meals like watching just like straight Initial D. But then it got to a point where just like, okay, like what is that one thing that he's gonna do in order to win? And it's like because my brother was like hardcore into like racing and everything too, so it was just like, oh yeah.
I've never actually seen that show, so it's
Initial
just about
D's
racing.
Pretty exciting.
I don't know why. It's just like super fun, and you just get caught into the characters.
Is it kind of like Redline, or is it nothing like that?
Oh, it's not. It's more realistic.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely not like Redline.
Redline is an amazing movie if you've never seen it. It's
Okay.
a racing movie about like all these different characters that race around on this planet.
Right.
And there's like a lot of subplots, like the government that's hosting the race has like its own problems with the planet that they're racing on.
Right.
And each character is pretty well defined, and they're all in like hover cars, or I don't even know how to describe it.
It is. It's almost impossible to describe. What's fun about that movie is there's like a group of people, like all the racers have like these futuristic hover cars, and the one guy who's like the lead is using the only one that actually has like an engine in it. He's using
like
an
with
old
wheels.
school car, and it's just set up for a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's
But I forgot about
very
Initial D though. I didn't even realize that. I think it's the first time they've done an Initial D in a couple of years.
Yeah, like I remember like they made like a live action one, and then like that was like the last one that I've seen. But
that
I
usually
haven't
kills
watched it,
animes. Yeah, live action.
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't that good, or maybe I was just over it by that time. But
yeah, so Viet, I'd really like to ask you about, I guess, some stereotypical questions. How you got into comedy, why you like it, what keeps you there?
I've always been a fan of comedy, and I went and saw Dave Chappelle and then I saw Dave
Guess
Chappelle
I got raped
at the Tabernacle. Yeah, and he was just amazing, and all I could I was with one of my best friends, and she I pretty much was like, I would love to do that, but I am too scared to do it, So just later on, my friend just decided to pull some money and got me like a workshop class to go take it, and it was like a birthday present. And yeah, I performed in front of like basically my friends and family and everybody else in my class's friends and family, and I just kind of got hooked after that.
Oh, cool. So you just been going back. Like, how often do you say you perform?
Probably at least like once or twice a week, if not. But then
you think that's what it takes to stay sharp?
In the beginning, it's just any time you
just
can.
Get stage time. Just get out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's always just like doing 5-minute sets, 3-minute sets until you just build up. You just keep building and keep working at it. Because at first you just need to just get over talking to different people, and then you just need to get over like stage fright and just getting used to dealing with different kinds of crowds. Because you have like your bar crowds, you have your comedy club crowds, you have your like there's just so you can just be diverse.
Interesting.
And be able to think of.
I guess you never think about that, but I guess if you're in front of an audience, what your audience is really matters. It's a dynamic that no one probably considers unless you're going up in front of people all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like they say like comedy is probably more like 80% like likability and then 20% actual material. So like the key is just getting the audience to like you, and once they like you, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
like you can say whatever you want.
Once you get them on your side,
dirty. Yeah. Well, because it's kind of just like with friends and stuff. Like if I don't know you and you make some racial slurs at at me,
Yeah,
like I'm gonna be pissed. But
you have no reference.
Yeah, if you my analogy was like you have to build a foundation before you start hacking away at it. So like which is pretty much the way comedy is.
Who's that big comedian that has like, this is such a vague thing. He was big like in, like 2009. His first name was Dan, or not Dan. He started becoming a movie star and did all those movies and then sort of disappeared.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Dane Cook?
Dane Cook. Yeah.
Okay.
Dane Cook. And he has such an explosive personality. Like, I don't really necessarily, I'm not saying he's not funny. It's just not the comedian I would seek out if I wanted to watch comedy.
Yeah.
But like you said, 80% personality.
Right.
He just comes out with blah, and like,
and that's why he, I agree. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate
either.
his comedy either. But because he's been able to project himself to the audience so much, he can say whatever he wants.
Yeah.
They'll eat it up every single time. And just because of his, like you said, his energy.
Yeah.
He's never stopped constantly moving and stuff.
Yeah.
Just, there are people that like him, and it's like, and then if you sort of like kind of like, I really liked him in the beginning, but then after a while, like I started
Who are your
seeing
like
his
comedy
stuff.
Do you have like an influence? Like what style of comedy do you do?
I mean, I'm more just kind of just talk about like just kind of random like jokes in my life, just like
observational humor.
Yeah, very kind of observational. Like I talk about like being Asian growing up in the South. I've been exposing myself to a lot of nerd geek type things, so I've been writing stuff about that. Talk about just kind of more stuff in my life, kind of thing. And but the people that I really like, I like the angry ranters, because I can't really do that. Like Bill Burr is a guy.
Bill Burr might be the best comedian that's alive right now.
Yes,
he's really good.
Bill Burr is amazing, and like guys like him and Louis C.K. of course is amazing, and the fact that he writes a new 90 minutes every year.
I was going to actually see that question, that sort of thing that he does where he throws away his material every year and comes up with a new hour. But of course,
he's been doing it for 20-something years. So it's just like, but I had to keep reminding myself that, just like where I don't beat myself up that I'm not writing 90 minutes.
I listen to a lot of like comedy podcasts, like the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
And, like a lot of the people that are comedians that come on his show say the first 5 years, the first 10 years are just figuring out how to be a comedian,
right?
How to get past all the fears and then gain your voice and understand your perspective and not stop trying to rip off other people on accident because you're seeing what's working for them and you try to shove it into your act when you should really just be developing yourself.
Right.
Just getting past all that takes like 10 years sometimes.
Yeah.
And so
most of the time.
And that's also mimicked in a lot of ways in life. Like, we're pretty good at doing YouTube videos, but imagine how much better we're going to be. Like, we're like 4 years in. Imagine how good we'd be in 10 years. Like, I feel like you almost have to do things for a few years to even figure out if you're good at them.
Right.
Like the beginning, you don't have any perspective on what you're even doing, probably.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's that whole, I think it's Malcolm Gladwell, like, where he says, like, if you do anything, if you put in 10,000 hours into anything, like, you should be an expert.
Yeah. People ask me all the time with my camera work, they're like, how'd you get so good? I'm like, well, I wanted to do this. I watched a lot of YouTube videos to figure it out, and then I put in 10,000 hours. Yeah. So start putting in your hours, because you're not going to get anywhere if you don't. The work, unless you put in the work.
And it sounds really lame and cliche, but just like the first step into doing it is to do it.
I've always told Corey I'd love to do stand-up comedy, or at least like go to an open mic and,
absolutely.
But I'm paranoid and terrified.
Which that's a battle in and of itself. Just getting up on stage.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hard thing. I guess like for one thing, like nobody does well, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
first time?
Nobody. Like, or I mean, luckily I performed in front of a bunch, like the class is expensive and probably not really worth it. Because like you can get the same thing from just going to an open mic. But if you go to an open mic, or if you do the class, you're at least performing in front of your friends and family, and they want to see you do well.
They're there to cheer you on.
They're there to cheer you on. So then, like, my first experience was just was good and warming. But then the open mic after that, not so good.
I think Louis C.K. says, "Eat a bag of dicks" on stage.
Many dicks in the bag. But like my advice, if you were ever to do it, is to just start hanging out at open mic nights.
Start and absorb the whole culture.
Get the and then even talk to the comedians, say that maybe you're interested in it, and eventually, like if you go there enough and you just get comfortable in the environment, and then you'll either get the itch to do it finally, and then go and do it then, and then you'll be more comfortable.
It seems like a journey I'd like to try one day, but maybe later.
And then most of the time it's an open mic. You're probably just in front of comedians anyways, and like it's not gonna make or break your career.
Oh no, it's a training ground. It's a place for new things.
No one, at least in like some coffee shop, there's not gonna be some there's not going to be an executive from Comedy Central is not going to be there. So.
Yeah, and along with comedy, you also build figures, and you have one here today. You can hold it up towards that camera. Yeah, you have a Captain America minion. Dun, da, da, da. And we'll also link in the video description to where you can see your portfolio of things you've created. So make sure to get us that link, and we'll put it there.
Oh, and I forgot to mention that they're also pens. You can decapitate them if you want.
I'm glad you didn't show me that beforehand. That's awesome.
Yep.
That is
wow.
Great. They are pens.
So, telescoping pens, right?
Telescoping pens. That's
great for your office or whatever. But
that is cool. That would be very cool if you made a Mr. Fantastic, because then it would make sense.
I did make a Mr. Fantastic.
Okay.
I still haven't done it, but I want to make some Mortal Kombat ones. Like a Sub-Zero one.
With
the spine.
Yeah, like fighting a scorpion. Yeah, that'd be great.
Where did the inspiration behind this come from?
Basically, like I make regular custom action figures, which are like mostly like the 6-inch scale, like the G.I. Joe scale stuff. But it's not something I can make a huge inventory of, and then they're like a little more on the high side, like probably like $100-$200 usually that I have to charge, because there's a lot of work that go into them. So I needed to make something that was like more on the lower end that I can sell like at conventions and stuff, and that's where I see, I know the Minions are popular. I like the Minions personally, and then I saw pictures of people doing like mashups of like Captain America Minion.
Minions are almost like imprintable on anything.
Exactly.
Like you can just like
you just throw Batman on Batman costume on a minion or whatever, right? So and then basically all I did was research. I just looked for something that was pill shaped, like so I can work off of that. And then I found these like vitamin pens, and then so from there, and then I just sculpted, and then I just kept on making.
So like you go to a convention, you get a booth, and you come there with like 50 of these things.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty much, and then like I'll sit there and I'll take commissions sometimes, and so I can maybe get like 3 or 4. In like a weekend.
How would someone hit you up, say, okay, I want a whole cast of the Avengers in minion form? How would they hit you up? And
they can just email me, comedianviet.com.
Okay.
Then there's my email right there. Just a comedianviet@gmail.com.
Okay, awesome. Well,
do you have a weirdest commission you've ever gotten for a minion?
50 Shades of Grey?
No, not yet. I'm sure that's probably something.
Emphasis on the yet.
Yeah, yet.
It's coming.
I'm sure it's coming. Just some random. Or I think probably the weirdest thing is that the fact that I make custom minions, somebody just wanted me to make them like a regular minion. Like I was like, I can make like anything, right?
Yeah.
Like I can put anything into a minion, and you can get these at the store.
They already make the regular
for cheaper
one.
than mine. I was like, I'll take your money, but like you can. Then just like something like, I want a minion in like a ladybug costume, and I'm like, what are your fetishes?
Ladybug minions.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. So and also like, what are some of the regular figures? Because I knew you. Actually, speaking about how we know each other, we were working on a 48-hour film together, and you had a background acting role, and you were also just helping out on the film's production.
Yeah.
Between our mutual friend Paul Jenkins, who's pretty well-known writer in the comic book world.
Yes.
And you would know more about that than I would. Is he really well-known?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so he's a big deal.
He's a big deal,
Yeah, and he's a really cool guy, and so we met through him, and you told me you were a comedian, and a figure maker. But
Yeah.
that back then you were doing more of the custom figures, like full size.
Yeah.
So, or how would you define those?
Yeah. Just like I guess just the full scale action figures.
What have you made?
All kinds of stuff. Lots of Marvel stuff. Like it just kind of just started off where I got out of college and I had an engineering salary and I had money, a ton of disposable income, and so I just started. And they made these like awesome Marvel Legends action figures. They weren't like when they were kids, where like it wasn't like this. Like like you can move their fingers, their wrists, and
72 articulating points.
Yeah. It's just amazing.
Is that the series that sometimes they have like the individual pieces?
Yeah. They have
like
the Build-A-Figure pieces,
Yeah.
and so you have to buy like some of those stuff, the ones that you don't really care for. So I started making my own because one, I was tired of waiting for them to make stuff that I wanted. And then I pretty much like I was that addicted to them. And then so I started making my own, and then and then I was just like, I don't know, I just kind of made them for myself, and I was like, I guess I could post them online. And then next thing you know, like people started liking them, and I was just like, and started meeting like fellow nerds and things like that, and people were asking me to make them stuff. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so I just been so I made a lot of X-Men figures, a lot of
like you
Marvel
said,
DC figures.
You would take like a G.I. Joe and then you would make it a Wolverine, or how would you like?
Yeah, basically, I would take an existing figure as close as to whatever they want,
like body
as
shape.
possible. Yeah, body shape and everything, and then I would either swap out parts that like I can do that. I have swap out parts from other figures, and then I sculpt over them sometimes and just repaint.
So this is not a simple process.
No.
This is more a very in-depth process.
This isn't just like take the leg from this figure, put it on this figure.
Yeah, it's not like a Lego thing
Legos.
where they're not Legos where you can just kind of just pop. Sometimes they can be, but most of the time they're pretty complicated. But for the most part, it makes me feel a little weird when people come to my house because I have like these boxes of like separated, dismembered parts.
You look like the guy. You look like the kid. You're the grown-up kid from the first Toy Story.
Yes, I am the villain from the Toy Story.
Sid.
Yeah, pretty much. Either way you look at it, or like usually what I tell kids so they don't get freaked out is that I'll just like, I also fix them too. So I'm like, I don't know, like Doc McStuffins or something like that.
That's a good reference.
Yeah.
That's great though. And that seems like has that ever been like a large source of income, or just something you do for fun on the side?
It's probably about like half and half now that I'm full time.
Okay.
Or at least with these conventions, like I've been selling a lot of the Minions. So
the Minions.
Yeah.
Well, the Minions are huge right now.
Yeah. And then like actually I kind of got into.
Do you have an Elsa Minion? Because Elsa is the Let It Go.
Once I learn how to braid.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, those are the two biggest
yes,
franchises right now. So if you just combine them, you can.
Yeah. I definitely want to do that. It's on my list. I just have to learn how to braid.
I'm sure there's a YouTube out there that shows you how to French braid or something. That's hilarious.
The good thing is there's that new Minions movie coming out too.
Yes. Yeah, and because of that movie, I'm just like, I think I can ride this for another 2 years. But another thing that I've been getting into is I started like meeting some creator-owned comic book creators and stuff that have like their Kickstarters and everything with making their own comics. And I worked with a guy named Vito Del Sante who writes this book called Stray, which is a really cool book. And I just liked the way it looked. I just happened to meet him at like New York Comic Con, and he just goes like I just said, hey, I can make an action figure of this guy, like I really like it, and I just went ahead and made it just for the heck of it. And I just kind of just charged him for parts or whatever, but he promoted the hell out of it. Like Stan Lee retweeted him, and so it got like a whole bunch of press from that. And then next thing you know, I get contacts from a whole bunch of other creator-owned comic book creators, like who saw that I made that, wanting me to make their
comic book,
and
then bring the whole series to life. In some ways.
Exactly, and which is cool. And then or some of them actually use my action figures as a reward for their Kickstarter and things like that. And then cool. And if their Kickstarter got funded, I know they got money.
Yeah, and a fan base. That's the one thing. Like I always remember Paul Jenkins. He did like a $75,000 Kickstarter for some show, and he pulled it off.
Right.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, damn. Yeah. That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool though. It's almost like your way into the nerd world in some ways. You know?
Yeah,
Like a
absolutely.
lot of people know you because of that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I it's just pretty much I'm just my whole thing is just trying to get like, okay, I have comedy, I have action figures, I have the podcast. Like, how can I just put it all or get everything to work off of each other?
You also said that your figures are half of what you do full time. So you walked away from the engineering thing?
Yes, I am full time. Yeah.
So you walked away from a safe job to do nerd stuff.
Yes.
Wow.
Pretty much.
You are a committed man.
Given that now
isn't that crazy? In some ways you walked away from engineering.
Let me preface that my fiance is a surgeon.
Oh, there you go. The honeypot.
Yeah,
okay.
so she's kind of my sugar mama at the moment. So, she's not a full on. She's still a resident. Not making the big bucks yet, so I have to keep her happy for
absolutely. You got to make all the minions she wants first.
Yes, yes. So I stay home. I take care of her with whatever I need to do, and then I make minions.
Well, that's fine, man. You know what you're really doing? You're doing what you love, and that's a good thing at the end of the day. No one can fault you for that.
Yeah.
It seems like you're doing what you love.
Might as well give it a shot, you know? I mean, I don't have any like major bills. I don't have any kids that I have to pay for. So that I know of.
Oh god.
But
yeah, Corey and I have also kept as we've gotten older, we've kept our expenses as low as we can because we like doing all this fun stuff. But man, making this studio, this showed me a lot of like how expensive things can get pretty quickly. You know, and so life is better lived with less bills. I completely agree.
Yes,
that's awesome.
As
though,
simple
man.
as possible.
I'm very excited about everything you're doing. You seem like you got a good grasp on life and doing everything you love. Awesome.
Thank you, man.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm excited about the possibilities of minions. Actually, before we go, Christian.
Yeah.
You could have a minion customized. What could it be?
RoboCop.
I knew it. You know, I was thinking this whole time.
RoboCop and Terminator
this
minion.
entire time. It's going to be at least
that
RoboCop.
Can be done.
I can already imagine RoboCop. I probably want something anime-centric. Probably Goku. Probably from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's on my list. Yeah, just like
Saiyan
hair.
Big
angry face.
Yeah.
I think that would be really great. Or maybe even like a Gundam minion, I think would be really cool.
SD Gundam minion.
That's the thing about this project of yours. It's genius. I mean, the possibilities are really
exactly. Like everyone's just like, have you made this yet? And I'm like, it's on my list. And like,
so what does the range of a cost for a minion?
These are like I usually do like $15 for one, and then like 2 for $25, and like
we got to get some. We got to get them in the studio and have them like on the table
absolutely.
as people come in. That would be great.
Yeah.
We'll absolutely get some from you. We want to do that.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a hookup.
Okay, thank you.
Nudge,
wink, wink.
Nudge.
Hey, if you guys do end up hitting you up for any of your figures or anything like that, make sure and let him know that Super Kami Guru sent you, because I want to know if we're actually sending people to this guy. You know, I'd love to know if our fan base is reaching out to you.
Yeah.
But it seems like you've got your own fan base already. You got big tweets. You got big people tweeting at you, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I can't believe Stan Lee retweeted one of your figures. Isn't that like the ultimate? Our
Stan Lee story isn't as cool.
Yeah, we saw Stan Lee.
Well, he retweeted the promotion of the comic. So not exactly me, but
no. Just take credit.
I was on there.
Just take credit. Just take all the credit.
Stan Lee totally did it. Yeah,
we're tight.
Never mind.
We're tight.
We'll edit that out.
But yeah, we met Stan Lee once. Corey and I were walking around Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee walked right by us in the hall.
Okay.
And I was like, I think I just saw Stan Lee. Mm-hmm. And I turned around because I knew Corey was right behind me. And then there's Corey looking like fucking Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. Like,
I literally stopped. And just, he was so close to us. It was weird. And we missed our big opportunity to see him. That was the very first Dragon Con we went to. So that really set a precedent. Like, within 5 minutes of being there, Stan Lee right there. So it was pretty insane.
Anything after that is kind of a letdown.
Yeah, well,
like, did you see Stan Lee? No.
You know what we did? We went
to talk to Adam West, though. That was fun.
We went to an Adam West convention or panel.
Okay.
Corey asked Adam West a question, and then we went right out, and then Stan Lee walked by us, and then later that day, the dude with the big mustache from MythBusters walked by and gave me a high five. Nice. And I was like, "What the fuck? I am in a fantasy world today." You know, like, what is this?
This is a perfect,
perfect day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it. And everyone, go check out his stuff in the description box below. We'll put all that in there. And also make sure and like this video. Subscribe to our channel if you have not already. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. And if you want to donate, we have a PayPal button. And we also have an Amazon associate link. The way that works, you click on it, takes you to Amazon. Anything you buy, we get a very small percentage of the total price. And you don't have to pay anything extra. And it helps us out. So use our Amazon link. Bookmark it now. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Powerful Nerdcast. And until next time, out.